In this video, we're going to take a look at the Sicon WAP expenses module. I'll log into the WAP system as Gordon and select to enter some new expenses. I can see at the top my purchase ledger account within Sage 200 and the company that I'm linked to. The expenses date has defaulted to today, but it will actually default to the latest date of any of the expense lines that I add. The first thing we'll do is we'll enter an expense line. I'm going to select hotel from my drop-down list. This is a very restricted list for Gordon. All he can do is put hotel and taxi expenses on. Having selected hotel, it shows me the nominal code it's going to post to within Sage. This can be overridden by job or projects that are selected if that's relevant for this particular transaction. The payment method is defaulted to company card. I can select it as a personal claim if it was paid for by cash or on my own personal credit card. Selecting the receipt attached will change the VAT to show that this is recoverable on this particular transaction. My currency is selected as my default sterling, but I can also claim for euros, dollars, or any other currency that's set up within the Sage 200 system. I have a warning at the top of the screen that says this is limited to £85 for this particular hotel type claim, and we can enforce limits on those as well. I'm going to enter £67. The system will work out the VAT that's recoverable on that and how much I'm actually going to get paid. If it's relevant for a job, I can select it from the list, and I can select the cost header relevant to that particular job. I can enter the details about the hotel. This was for a visit to a customer, and then I can save my line. From here I can add additional lines. I can select a taxi. Again, I paid for this personally in cash. I have a receipt. It was for £15. Also related to job number 28. And expenses. Taxi from the hotel to the client. Having entered my two expense lines, I'm going to save and close. I can now add any mileage that I have to put onto this claim. At the top of the screen, it shows my default car and how much I will get per mile for the expenses I enter. If I select a private vehicle, it'll change the pence per mile to the current 45p. If I add a new expense line, I can put on the date of the expense, I can put in the journey details, and I can manually enter the business mileage. Alternatively, if I leave these blank and select the little icon next to the business mileage, it'll open a distance calculator. I can enter postcodes and click calculate. It'll tell me the distance and a description for that travel. If I accept that, it will enter those details into the journey, update my business mileage. I can add any personal mileage if I'm using a company car, and again I can select a job and a cost header. I save the mileage line. From here I can add additional lines or I can save and close. So on my expenses now, I have my two expense lines for the hotel and taxi, plus my mileage. At this point, I can print an expense voucher if I want to keep this for my own records or if I need to send in receipts to support the claim. Alternatively, I can add attachments to the invoices that relate to this particular transaction. My expense claim is now ready to submit for approval, so we select the Save and Submit button. It gives me a reference number at the top, 10081, for my submitted expense claim. I can keep a track on this expense claim and see who it's waiting for. So in this particular case, all those lines are waiting for Sarah to approve. If we log into WAP as Sarah, it'll tell me that I have lines at the bottom here to approve for Gordon's expenses. If I go into approve expenses, that item is waiting there for me. If we had attached receipts, they would show under the attachments tab. In this particular case, I can just see the details, the project it relates to, and the cost heading within that project that we want it analysed against. I'm happy with this expense claim, so I'm going to approve all of those lines. Back in Sage 200, I can select Gordon's expense account, and if we have a look at the transactions on that expense account, I can see expense number 10081, and if I drill down into the nominal, I can see the lines for the visit to customer, for the taxi, and for the mileage. That invoice has been fully approved and will appear on the next payment run. The Sicon WAP expenses module provides an easy way for remote users to enter their expenses that can be approved and processed directly into Sage 200 for payment. For more information on this and other modules, visit www.sicon.co.uk.